of the Wrestling Summit. We are live. And you know who I am. I'm Brian H. Waters. I'm with Mike. I'm with Glenn. Let's get right into it. Shane O'Mac is back. Mike, tell me how you feel. Tell me how you really feel.
How I really, really feel.
How you really, really feel.
I am excited and ecstatic. I see nothing but goodness coming out of this. This is what we've asked for as wrestling fans, and wrestling fans all over has just said if this man was back and how the company could go maybe some of the other direction that they've gone and maybe he could have stepped in there somehow, some way. I don't know that. I don't think the company would do anything different because everything's about the the bottom line, which is the dollars that make sense, as they say. But from a storyline standpoint, from a wrestling fan standpoint, I went from, okay, I'm disappointed I'm not going to WrestleMania to like, gosh darn it, I'm not going to WrestleMania. I saw no problems with what happened on Monday night at all. As soon as I heard "Here comes the money," and I quote, my wife said, "You don't look at me, you don't make that noise for me." So that's how I felt about the situation there. Glenn, your take?
Yo, my take on that is, I mean, it was a good nostalgia pop. It's good to see him back. I'm curious about the match at WrestleMania. Everybody's hyped up with Shane O'Mac taking on Undertaker. I'm not really sold on the match. I know it's a good nostalgia thing, but we talking about a couple of weeks, is this a good match? Yes, it's Shane McMahon. I just think somebody else would be put in there before Shane McMahon wrestles the Undertaker. I mean, I might be wrong. It may be a great match. I know Shane's gonna put his body on the line. This is a guy who has not been in the ring for about 7 years, going against a guy who's way past his prime. I just think we as wrestling fans are looking for too much out of this match.
I don't think the match itself is what, and you said there's a lot of wrestling fans that feel what you feel. So I mean, you are representing quite a bit of them actually, and I've been beg, borrowing, and stealing, as my mother would say, all but sell a piece to make sure I have some food to try to get wrestling fans to understand this has absolutely nothing to do with the match. It has nothing to do with the Undertaker. It has everything to do with it. With what I don't. This is what I don't understand about wrestling fans is your gripe with this match. I don't get the gripe.
No, I'm not complaining or griping. I'm still going to WrestleMania. I still sit there and watch the match.
Right, you brought your ticket before you even knew what the matches were. So also,
okay. Unlike if it was Sting and Taker, where I said earlier, and I still say to it, I would go to the bathroom.
it's not all over yet. There's still hope.
You know, it might be hope, and your eyebrows wish there still is hope. You know, but I might. But I'm saying this from a wrestling, not the Undertaker, not the WrestleMania perspective, because it's good for WrestleMania. It's good to sell the rest of those tickets that have not been sold. But if you're going to watch a wrestling match, I know Shane McMahon was a great performer. You're asking him to do something he hadn't done in 7 years. I think that he has time to do it. I think it'll be good. I think it was a great pop for WWE, a great boost on social media for WWE. It was good for all those great reasons for WWE. See Shane McMahon back. There was nothing going on Monday night. You know, everybody else could turn to Monday Night Raw to watch it and boost the ratings up. It did everything that was intended to do. We're still talking about it a week later. We're going to talk about it tomorrow night. You know, so it did everything that it had intended to do. With the grand scheme of things, I just want to see what else you build around it and how you lead to it with 5 weeks away.
Well, looking at this match, I understand, I understand both of your point of views. I understand, it's the nostalgia, but I understand, it's like, do we really want to see Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker? Quite frankly, this
No.
probably would have been a better match in the Attitude Era just because of all the crazy spots Shane McMahon would have taken. I don't see the father of, he had three children, the husband of one, the business owner over in China. I don't see Shane McMahon taking those crazy spots. But quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly, I don't see Shane McMahon wrestling in this match, to be honest with you. I
Mm-hmm.
think something is going to happen, like you guys
Absolutely.
said. I think something's going to happen. But I do love the way everything popped. I love the fact that, I wasn't able to watch it live, but my phone blew up. Just seeing on social media the reactions, and a lot of people talked about, okay, well, what about the children? How many parents? This was a moment when parents had to explain to their children who this guy was. I think the WWE did a great job, just kind of for this week, making you remember who Shane McMahon is. You know, making those kids who might not be privy to, who might not have the patience to watch the old stuff. Glenn, Mike, your children like mine will go back and watch the Shane McMahon stuff from the Attitude, the post Attitude era. But some of the new generation wrestler fans, they won't. But WWE did a great job on their social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, showing you Shane McMahon. But I just Hell in a Cell just makes it very interesting, but I just don't trust the McMahon. I think some way, shape, or form, Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon are standing tall at the end of the night.
My thing though is that with wrestling fans and concerns about this match, something that you touched on, Glenn, saying I'm paying to go see a wrestling match. It's not pro wrestling, and as soon as wrestling fans realize that it's not pro wrestling, that it's wrestling that it's sports wrestling entertainment, then that's a big problem that I think a lot of older wrestling fans still don't understand, and also with this and what you touched on Brian Waters is that there's 5 weeks to go. Okay, anything can happen from this. We don't know. I know there's gripes and people are saying, well, what if Taker says he's not going to do this? What makes Taker say he can just do what McMahon says? Well, two things to me that happen here. Wrestling fans say there's always never a proper build. We rip it all the time that it's not a proper build. And to me, in one fell night, people could say I've drunk the Kool-Aid you want to. Frankly, I don't drink Kool-Aid. I like freshly squeezed orange juice. Okay, so no, I like to take my time and understand something. I think in this one moment, they gave you who you wanted, who you've asked for 7 years, and Shane McMahon. They gave you what you've asked for several weeks. People say, oh, I don't want to see Taker, but if Taker's not there, people complain that Taker's not there. So they give you Taker. They give you not just Taker and Shane McMahon that you've asked for, they give it to you in a Hell in a Cell match. And then instead of everybody doing what they should be doing as wrestling fans and imagining and having fun with what the possibilities of the match could be and speculating and doing what we all like to do best, and that's book it better, they go, oh, no, it could have been Bray's rematch. It could have been this. It could have been that. It could have been this. It could be a lot of things, right? But at the end of the day, it's about the feeling of the match and the feeling of what it gets you. And all it gets me, as soon as I seen it, I said, and I got to repeat it, Brian, we both said it to each other this week, it's not about just my dog spot or a liver spot or a spot the carpet or a spot on my T-shirt. It's about the spot we've been asking to be changed and taken back over properly, and that's Monday Night Raw. I just don't understand the gripe about it. I can care less about Taker. I can care less about Shane McMahon or who wins this match. Taker's streak is over, so who cares if he loses the match or even if he wins the match? Don't care. It's happening. That's all I care for. Take my money. If I can give it away to you, I would.
Yeah, it's not about it's not about wrestling. We know Wrestlemania is to me is wrestling. People buy tickets regardless of who. They don't even know who's going to be in the Super Bowl yet. They buy tickets to the Super Bowl. So it's like going to the event. Then the whole weekend leads up to this thing. People are sitting there watching the Oscars tonight. They enjoy talking about it, leading up to it, and then when the event actually happens, it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's how WrestleMania is for a lot of fans. You just want to go. It's like, a person who is of different faith going to Jerusalem or Israel or going to Mecca. You want to be there. And so that's the thing, regardless of the match. Tickets are sold before you even know the first match, before you even know who's going into the Hall of Fame. So you know you're already there. So with that match said, it just is, and you got to understand the history behind it. You can see the old Taker Shane McMahon match. You can look at it, and I think it's good for – it served its purpose. The match itself, it served its purpose, whether he win, lose, or not. And people who say they don't know if Taker agreed to it, let's be honest. If Vince McMahon said it, Taker had already agreed to it for months. He already signed off on it. See, him and the select few people in the company can say who they will and won't wrestle.
Or how.
Or how. Think about it, Taker's in another Hell in a Cell match. The last time we saw him was a Hell in a Cell match against Brock Lesnar. He lost that one, so this time he's in the Hell in a Cell match against...
Last time we saw him one-on-one. Just want to clear that before the internet rips you.
What was that?
I said last time we saw him one-on-one. Just wanted to make sure, clear, because, fans.
Oh, because he did have the Survivor Series blunder, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
Of that match.
So much you forgot about it.
But something else. Wow. The 25 years, though, right? But something else there also, Glenn, like you just mentioned, and I put that in my JMO, which you can find on SpotSportsRadio1340am.com, that I put when guys mentioned that whole thing about him taking it. the best there is, the best was, the best ever will be is Bret Hart, in my opinion. Definitely one of the top 3. Look what happened to somebody who refused to do what the boss said. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, people? It's still storyline. Wrestling is storyline. At the end of the day, it's not about what you want or how you can. I don't get how wrestling fans can, on one end, say, oh, how can he take the match? And you try to remind them of when you don't do something within the storyline, what can happen. They get their thongs all up in their arses. I just don't understand it.
Well, all right. So just to throw this out there, something I saw online. So obviously everybody knows by now how we feel about stuff we see online, but this makes for good conversation nonetheless. Anybody see Undertaker turning heel along with McMahon?
Absolutely.
Triple H doing this.
I actually thought that 2 scenarios there. Honestly, from the beginning, that could happen, and maybe a reforming of a new ministry with Shane being possible, or I'm still holding out hopes because my eyebrows are still here that Shane comes out and says, hey, I ran WCW and I still got a part of that in the company. So how about you got your phenom, I got mine, and according to our poll a week later, they want to see Sting versus Taker more than they want to see Cena versus Taker. That's
so quick question. Do the eyebrows come off at WrestleMania if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania 32, or what does it come off when both of them are officially retired?
You know what? That's a very good question, bro. I have to go back and listen to what I said now. Thank you.
Don't get away out. The statement was this WrestleMania. If it doesn't happen this year, it's done. This is Taker last year.
I have to agree with that part too, but hey, you never know.
Well, let's move on. We obviously, this is just the beginning of the Shane McMahon Undertaker talk. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll definitely have more of that coming up in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. But, man, Roman Reigns. If you don't feel sorry for him now, you're never going to feel sorry for him. Bottom line, if you weren't sold on the fact that after you watched him get his arse, as Sheamus would say, whooped and literally beat into a bloody mess, if you wasn't sold on that, I don't think you'll ever be sold. Guys, what y'all think?
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. I think I am not a fan of social media's bashing of anything. That's just what it is for me. All right. However, when I've seen one thing said that Roman can't even get the blood right because we all now seen the infamous supposed blood pouch that Byron Saxton handed to him. So again, I will reside in the fact of I don't know if that to be true. Yes, it does look true, but hey, R. Kelly got off. So what do I know what I saw on video?
Let me just add this real quick before you go on. In all fairness to him, this is a social media era. Credit to the director and credit to the producers for they had the right camera angles. Nobody could have predicted that the cell phone you should have, obviously, in this day and age, should have known somebody would have had a phone. But I just want to put it, I don't want to say he didn't necessarily get it right, because how else would you have done that in that situation?
But look, I want to answer that before Mike continue, if you don't mind. How many times have we seen Austin, Rick Flair, how those guys blade themselves? You see what I'm saying? In that era. I'm happy the fact that WWE showed blood on Monday Night Raw. I'm happy for the fact that they allow Roman to get beat up by Triple H. It makes him stronger. Guys and first of all, you're not even supposed to be recording with your cell phone at a WWE event anyway. I hope they find the dude, because you're supposed to put your cell phone away and take pictures.
Oh, right.
So if they really want to prosecute people, they can do so. Stop being an idiot, stop being a dummy, and let wrestling fans, and really, truth be told, the fans who see that are people like us. The little kid in the third row doesn't see that. He sees Roman Reigns' nose bleeding. The 6-year-old, people in the arena. So those grown guys like us who goes on social media, or other people go on social media and want to find this different angle, let people have their imagination. I say it all the time. If you let people have Santa Claus, let me have wrestling.
You know what? Not just to kind of go with that. Tag in on that one. Again, that's when I tell you that wrestling fans, it's a certain demographic. I don't know who they are, what they are. I mean, One of the people I cannot stand in this media business that we do, and I've just got to speak my mind and be who I am, is I used to love one Colin Cowherd. Okay, I did. I thought what he did, I'm kind of a brash opinionator myself. So I don't mind people being very opinionated. But when he made a comment about wrestling fans and how wrestling fans are a certain demographic and how they're this way and this, it's people like that who took that video, because guess what, guys? When everybody showed this and said this and it's all over the groups and groups, I refuse to look at it, to be honest. That's just me, because I refuse. I'm going to say the same thing I say every WrestleMania from the time I went to WrestleMania 4 years ago. I'm not going to have you ruin my moment because of the stuff that you want to hate on. You know, and I get sick and tired of guys that find every single angle they can do to try to rip down a product that they're watching every single week and talking about every single day. Why can't you just enjoy it? Glenn, I see you got something to say.
Yeah, it's like this, man. It's like cats. They rip on wrestling, but you still go see a Denzel movie.
I got my juice in my mouth.
You still see Mission Impossible 15. You know what I'm saying? And think Tom Cruise is not gonna that Tom Cruise is gonna die. We on James Bond like 500, whatever case may be. So if you can suspend your disbelief with your girl, your sister, whatever, for 2.5 hours in a movie theater, because you know he didn't really die, right? Maybe you did. Suspend my disbelief on Monday Night Raw.
Is that the definition of a mark? Shut out.
If truth be told, we all
right.
know, even those who are performing are marks because they love the business so much,
Yeah.
they watched it. And they wanted, if truth be told, they're the true definition of a mark, because this is what they want to do for their career. So
how about that?
You watched the thing, and then you wanted to do it so much you became what you watch. So you're a true fan. You're a mark.
To go back and answer Brian's question, and Brian, I just think really though, and it's something, again, you go in these groups, you get in conversations, and I'm finding from you guys how to kind of be more engaged with fans and get into conversations. So that way, it's just, I'm not just being one-sided. I can hear and make an intelligent opinion of what someone says. And I just think it's been unfair that it's been over a year that he is still getting hate just because they chose him when everybody wanted the other guy.
But
okay, that's not fair. That's just not fair, though. No, go ahead. I'm saying I just don't think that's fair that he still gets that, Brian. And that's your guy. But let's be honest. It's your guy.
15 reasons. I wrote 15 reasons why Roman Reigns will never get over. Never be the man. I ain't gonna say never get over. Never be the man. Shout out to all the 50,000 plus people that read it. When I sit there and I think they're past that, because at this point there's nobody who, and people might say you're Ambrose. I don't think fans are necessarily cramming for Ambrose to be in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture, because they get Ambrose, which we'll talk about later, in a spot that they like. I just don't think people they don't really connect with Roman.
I need to read that one then, because and you know I love to read your stuff, so I can tell you what I think. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I just, you have one point there is true. They're not him. They wish they could be him, so they hate on him. I'm sorry.
But you know what? It's I think with Roman, I think there's something that he's not doing. I don't think it's that they necessarily hate him. I just don't see him. There's other ways that he could be fine-tuned, and it's just something they just don't connect.
According to them, and I wish nephew Corey was here, the Grand Wizard himself, who said this on this program and came on my show, the Stolen Sports Features, every single day, Monday through Friday, from 5 to 7 on Fox Sports Radio, 1340am.com, is the fact of, if he changes his music and he changes his clothes, all of a sudden now you're gonna like the same guy. It's still the same package. You know what I mean? And
like I said, I'm sitting there watching this guy, and I'm watching on Monday night, and I'm seeing the one thing I noticed that was trouble was when Triple H hit the pedigree. Everybody knows when he stands on those steps and he hooks your arms, what 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, a back body drop is following. But when he landed the pedigree on the step, I said, whoa. Wow, he's doing. He went to the extreme, and right. Triple H, after a while, he couldn't fight it no more because the fans started cheering. They started saying one more time. That's right. When he hit the DX chop. Triple H has never hit the DX chop since 1999 as a face. You know, as far as it was just. As a heel. I'm sorry.
That's incredible that you even know that, by the way.
It was always done unless he was doing it to taunt. But this was when I say the chop, this was a chop to ignite the crowd,
Right.
not a chop to disrespect the crowd.
Let me ask you a question. What happened between when he got cheered for that small, brief moment to now?
What do you mean?
There was a moment when when him and Triple H went at it late last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He got cheered by the fans.
Right.
Okay? And then we started talking even on this program that, okay, in certain cities, they're like with John Cena. There are certain Cenas that, I don't care if people say, there are certain cities that Cena gets cheered in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain ones that he don't get in. Then there's those mixed cities.
Yep.
Right? Roman kind of had that and now has gone back to where everywhere he goes,
I
you
think
hear more boos.
It was more about when Roman beat somebody that you hated, and that was Sheamus. People don't like guys like yourself. You always say you're the biggest Triple H mark. There's more people that just hate Sheamus, that don't want to see Sheamus on their television. Not just me, but there's people like you won't see Sheamus get cheered like that. He's a genuine heel. People really love to boo him.
Well, they think if Roman turns heel, that's going to make them fans. I don't see that either, though. That's not that.
But I think he'd be a more organic heel. I think people.
Okay.
I think he could make people hate him. But with Sheamus, it was just that, like, people really hate Sheamus. People really hate Rusev. So they are strong enough heels that Roman, was like, okay, please just get the belt off of Sheamus. Hashtag anybody but Sheamus. And that's what I think made it work. But then when you throw Triple H in the mix, people love seeing Triple H because we don't get it every week. So they want to see him wrestle. So that's what I think the difference is.
And that's what my confusion also is, because all I hear, and you have a great group on Facebook, okay, that has more than 150 people, that only has 20 people comment on it, okay, pages on Facebook, the wrestling realm, where they don't want to see Triple H in this match either. There's people don't want to see Triple H at all anymore, right? That's what I get my confusion. Because they'll say, I don't want to see Taker, but then Taker got to be there. I don't want to see Triple H, well, then who else has got to be there? You get what I'm saying? All you hear is, I get, and I want to take them saying, I understand that WWE does a lot of wrong. Trust me, there's a lot more wrong lately than right with booking and everything else. WrestleMania, if we were booking WrestleMania, there couldn't be enough seats in the place. Okay? Let's be real. Let's be honest. Let's be real. That's just what it would be. But that's not what's here. Okay, and I'm tired of guys. This is where I get my gripe with fans. When you're spending money on a podcast, on a T-shirt, on plane tickets and hotel accommodations, and going to WrestleMania and going to these events and paying for the network, not watching it on the stream, then I think you complain. But the majority of these guys that are complaining, they're not spending any money. When you want to make change, your dollars are invested. If your dollars, the people who are spending money, who are investing dollars, don't care. Because Roman, to my kids, they lost their mind. Christian literally went like this. There's blood on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, he lost his mind because to them, their big Superman monster was getting beat up by the boss.
Hey, it's like Hulk Hogan getting smashed by King Kong Bundy for kids, when we was growing up.
He broke his rib.
You allow Roman Reigns to be where he's at. You allow Roman Reigns to move. That means the company has trust in Roman Reigns. Accept the fact that the company trusts Roman Reigns. Whether you like him or not, he's the guy that can go on Good Morning America and people will watch. He's the guy that can go on ESPN with a coach and people watch. I'm like this. If Roman Reigns was getting no reaction, then I would have a problem. Who would cheer him? He's getting a reaction. That's what they want. Step back and enjoy the ride.
I think again that touches it right there, and I think that I put a slam door on that. Again, that's just my. I think guys just. What was the Rock or wasn't it some? Y'all can help me out. Wasn't it somebody girls want to date us, guys wish they was us. You know what I mean? In a sense. And I think a lot of it is with Roman. I think a lot of guys go, oh, he's your big. When you say the big Samoan Superman, you're already giving yourself the. I don't go, yo, Brian, you look handsome in that bow tie, dog. I go, yo, dog, you look all right. Yo, I see you rocking the bow tie, my dude. You know what I mean? It's a difference. You know what I mean? But they report to, they go, if WWE was booking Brian right now, they go, look at him right there. Look at the mastodon with the bow tie on. Something elaborate that they do. You know what I'm saying? That people just hate on it for whatever reason. I think guys are just jealous.
Well, I just think, man, when you just look at the whole situation, I just think that one of the things that you brought up about females though, Mike. It reminds me, and you'll see one of my in the top 15 is I just felt like he does embrace his female fans, and I understand part of that because he's married, but that's
You're
it
right.
is what it is.
Is that him or is that company? Like I think there's a fine line that we as fans say, you got to take what the boss has said and what we know. You got to take the brass ring sometimes to go out there on your own and hope that it works.
Well, I say what I see on TV, so I always
Okay.
say him. That's what I don't see him embracing the fans, but I mean, the female fans. I feel like
You're right.
when he come out there, I feel like I should hear those high pitched voices screaming to the depths of their lungs, and that's what I don't get.
Like when you're watching SmackDown.
It depends on. I know a lot of women, and I've talked to a lot of the crowd, especially going into. They are people who are there, particularly just for Roman Reigns. They are people who try to figure out in their seat to where he's coming down at, try to buy their ticket accordingly so they can touch Roman Reigns. So what I think the haters is, and I wish the Wizards were here, is some of those fans that when somebody start booing, they just join along with the boos because it's the cool thing to do. Not because
that.
it's just a cool thing. Hey, they booing Roman Reigns. Okay, let me boo him too. But majority of the fans like Roman Reigns. Like, hey, it's just like the arena when everybody started chanting CM Punk, not because they wanted to see CM Punk, because it was the cool thing to do. So right now, it's the cool thing to do is to boo Roman Reigns.
The yes chant was the cool thing to do.
Nah. People they love Daniel Bryan.
I'm not saying they don't love him now.
No, I mean I just look at. I mean, you alluded to the fact you said people don't want to see Triple H in this match. I said it before. I'll say it again. Anytime, in all the matches that he's main evented WrestleMania, he has never had the best match on the card.
True.
You can make the argument that he had to go against Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels.
No,
you can make the argument that he had to go against Hogan and Rock. You can make the argument that he had to go against Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. The bottom line is, when he's main eventing and he's closing the show, it's not the best match on the card.
He's had best matches on the card at SummerSlams, in my opinion. So I know this is the granddaddy of them all. I get that. But this just shows you where he's always been. I don't think no one, even me, can put him number one in the company. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's the company's number one, number two heel of all time. But sometimes WrestleMania, again, is that nostalgic moment. And unfortunately, you've named some greater guys, whether it's in-ring or not, you know what I mean, that have done it. And they had an opportunity where on their own, they dropped the ball with him and Randy Orton. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have made that better than what you did, but you didn't. But, just for people out there saying, and I want to get there and say it, so we make sure we say it here, that we do listen to everybody out there, you could have booked Shane versus Triple H, and this would have been a lot better and made a lot more sense to more people because of the two. But I think maybe Shane just fell in their lap with all the injuries that have happened.
I agree with you. I'm glad you said that because it would have made more sense. But I think, like you said, the injuries, it's just, when you look at it,
they're spread thin. They're spread really thin.
They are. And if it was, that's the reason why Triple H is the champion, in my opinion, in the first place.
The only reason.
Because he has to tell these guys, all right, let me take y'all by the hand and show y'all how we're going to make this money. Let me show y'all how we do it. Let me show y'all, okay, this is what it takes. This is what is expected of a champion. And, quite frankly, he's a heel. I remember listening a few years ago, it said he was always kind of that became a utility player. He can come off the bench when somebody gets hurt. And my gosh, I don't think nobody could have ever have predicted. I've never seen anything like this in professional wrestling where you have this amount of superstars hurt.
Yeah, even to what the company may have shown us that they're C stars. We may call them A and B guys like a Cesaro, but we know the company wasn't putting them there that high. But I think this is a spot where Cesaro maybe could have came off better. You know what I mean? If not for Rusev's injuries, people think that he just got squashed all of a sudden. Rusev's been hurt since that foot injury on SmackDown. Okay, so I think this would have been a better spot for him, where the company was building him. I just think so many injuries, so much you got to do, and the bottom line still is putting out there what you just said, the guys that knows how to go out there and sell and make the money for the company. So you put them here.
Well, speaking of making money for the company, this guy has made a lot of money, and I think now the guy who is going to be his dance partner at WrestleMania will come up upon his biggest payday, and this will set and make him into a bigger star, and that's Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose, man. I'm calling right now show stealer of the night. What you think, Mike? I know
Um,
it's early. I know it's
well,
5 weeks, and I know you're gonna have a lot of time to change your mind.
yeah,
Will Dean Ambrose beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania?
I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes, but I'm saying no.
Mm-hmm.
I say yes because I think Brock. It's up to whether the company does it or not. Okay, and I said on last week's post show that I'm not exactly sure how hashtag I'm a Dean Ambrose guy likes how they're building him. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Again, he looks really. I like the fact that he keeps battling back. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. But it's not realistic that he could actually pull this off. But he can now because the company did what they need to do and make it hashtag. Again, love my hashtags. Wrestling is storyline. It's no holds barred, which means anything can happen. And Brock Lesnar has the possibility of losing. On the surface, you think, well, that guy's going to get his butt whipped because now Brock Lesnar can use all the environmental objects he wants to use. But it works both ways. And I think, again, I thought Monday night was great. From him coming back out in the ambulance after we saw the W.com put out that Brock Lesnar jumped him. That means Brock sees something. Know the understanding of how a storyline works and how when it's working good, guys like Brock Lesnar is doing it really good right now because it shows, okay, why is this little pesky little gnat just keeps bothering me? So now I'm so pesky by this gnat or this little, what's the little splinters you get in your hand, I want to pull it out. So he attacks him. Then he comes back and he beats him up again, but he's not going away. I love the storyline right now. I know people out there are like, well, wow, you didn't want to see, Daniel Bryan versus him. What makes any difference with Dean Ambrose? He's going to get folded up like an accordion as well. Well, you know what? I guess that's what you're going to get. But I think Dean Ambrose makes getting beat up look really, really good, Lynn.
It's whatever Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. You got to go back to what I said with the Undertaker. It is a feather in Dean Ambrose's hat that Brock Lesnar doesn't mind working with him at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's by default because there's so many other people hurt. He needed a place, but it's still a feather in Dean Ambrose's cap that Brock Lesnar said, you know what? Okay, I'll work with Dean Ambrose, but this is how we're gonna do it. You got Paul Heyman, who I'm sure is adding input into how this thing is being played out. So the storyline leading up to it is gonna be great. The match itself, I think Brock Lesnar comes out on top. I think Dean Ambrose takes the beating, Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar comes out on top. And because Dean Ambrose could take a beating from Brock Lesnar and still be over. And still be over because it's Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar will continue to be that beast and back in the title picture for whoever wins on at WrestleMania. So this match will play out as a street fight. We may see other people get involved. I hope not. I hope they let this be a one-on-one, a match of one-on-one contention. So I think it will be. It's 5 weeks. 5 weeks out. I give my more in depth later. But I think this is a good storyline. Is it a match stealer of the night? I'm about to see the whole card because there could be another match stealer of the night once the whole card plays out. Besides this match, currently right now, this is it's high on the list. That could steal the show, but I'm not gonna say match stealer yet.
Well, looking at it, I see Ambrose. So as you said, somebody who can take a beating, somebody who will take a beating when this happens, and I think it's gonna be great. Honestly, I think that he's gonna go out there, and I look at him and I always think about the Macho Man Randy Savage. Take me 10 years old, no, 8 years old, WrestleMania 10, Macho Man versus Crush. Savage's last WrestleMania match. I thought, looking at it, now mind you, like I said, 8, everything's still kayfabe to me. I thought that he was going to lose. I was thinking, there's no way Macho Man Crush. He beat him up. He dropped his throat right into the guardrails. And Crush just had that presence, especially when he became a heel. He was even more like vicious. But Savage got creative, and that's what I see in this match. And I love how they started us off on Facebook earlier that Monday with the arrival to the arena and Brock Lesnar just pummeling Dean Ambrose. And I think it's hard for me to see him taking a beating all the way up until WrestleMania and then taking a beating again. But I think if he does, he is someone who has a strong enough character and a strong enough following that he won't be buried and won't look bad doing it.
Yeah, but also not to be Booker, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody. It leads to an eventual, and I think it leads to an eventual split between him and Roman Reigns, where Roman gets the title, he takes the beating by Brock. He's in the title picture now, and then we see them two fighting leading up to whatever pay-per-view, Payback, and all this other stuff, European tour that happens at WrestleMania. So you can see that. But also what it does is it makes him more remarkable for the WrestleMania season, doing access and autograph signings and on posters and all that. Put extra money in your pocket because you want to be on the poster. You want to be on the.
You're fighting Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, you fighting Brock Lesnar, so you moved up the card in the last couple months. You see what I'm saying? Look where Ambrose was at last year in the ladder match. That was, I believe, was the first match of the show. So now he's going to be in at least one of the last 3 matches of the show, and so it provides a bigger payday for Dean Ambrose.
Unless Brock Lesnar said he wants to go home early.
Let's not forget. And I say this, and you can hit me on Twitter and be mad at me. It's only because guys like Randy Orton, Seth Rollins is hurt that Dean Ambrose has his spot right now.
Well, I'm gonna be mad at you here in person on the Wrestling Summit. If Randy Orton was here, I know we never got that. I know a lot of people did want that Orton versus Brock Lesnar matchup dating back to the OVW days. I'm still not sold on Randy Orton not being a part of WrestleMania or Cena for that matter. So I'll leave that there. But I think Dean Ambrose is grossly appreciated by some whatever group of wrestling fans there are that don't like Dean Ambrose. I like everything about the guy. I think he can be a heel or a face. He kind of has that Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of mentality of his character, as far as he just does what he wants to do. He beats to the music of his own drum, so to speak. But I've liked Dean Ambrose since CZW.
Yeah, man, Moxley was definitely a beast. There's no doubt about it, man. But this is definitely going to be one of those that's very interesting as we look forward to WrestleMania, just to see how this is going to play out. I'm looking for the verbal battles. I'm looking for the verbal jabs. You guys mentioned Paul Heyman earlier, and from what I see, Ambrose can hold his own on a mic, obviously. And so I just want to see what type of stuff that those guys are going to come up with.
Well, a lot of Dean Ambrose getting beat up and coming back from devastation. It's kind of like, remember when Mankind was always just getting beat up? You know what I mean? Like that's what's going to happen with Dean Ambrose. I'm just hoping he doesn't have to go to the depths of what one Mick Foley did to get the pops. You know what I mean? So that's but I like it. I like that he keeps battling back. To me, it's like kind of like a David versus Goliath in a sense kind of story right before our eyes. Like here's this virtually the same height, but clearly Brock Lesnar is much bigger than one Dean Ambrose. But he's not afraid. He's just not. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely not afraid. Mike, you said you wanted to touch on today the Elite versus the Elite versus the New Day.
Well, I like the fact that there's wrestling circles that bring that up, and I saw what they were doing. Their new shirt, by the way, the Elite shirt is really hot. Take my money now, with Omega and the Young Bucks. I just like that kind of stuff about outside stuff, affecting this. WWE did it for years. We all know about how DX went down to WCW and things like that. And what ECW back in the day, not the invasion angle, but when ECW came on Raw and stuff back in the day, I think this is something that with what Triple H has been doing, it had been rumored for years now that the Young Bucks would be coming to the WWE. Why not now? Why don't the New Day have an opponent just yet? Why are they palling around with everybody else? Is it a foregone conclusion there's going to be a fatal 4-way or title ladder match, whatever the heck, that we us fans can come up with? I think this would be good, even at a place like WrestleMania, because again, although I said on one half here, and it is about the entertainment, not the wrestling. This could be entertainment and wrestling. You know what I mean? Because you get the guys that everybody internet loving guys, the flavor of the month, if you will, so to speak, versus the new flavor of the month in the New Day. And I just think you put that two together, you got some entertainment wrestling, just like when AJ Styles came out at WrestleMania. I mean, at Royal Rumble, it's a pop from that demographic of fans.
Glenn, your thoughts?
Either way, man, it's cool. Young Bucks, great tag team. I don't think Kenny Omega, great person, great match. New Day, I think whoever you put the New Day in the ring with is going to be entertaining. I think New Day have gone from, they're a tremendous entertainment group. Nonetheless, they're all great workers. Right now, they understand their role. They're there for entertainment. I hopefully, as far as WrestleMania, I like to see a tag team match. I mean, I like to see a tag team title match more so than any other three-man match, what case may be. I like to see the tag team titles on the line. I'm just one of those guys that, whether it's a wrestling, I like to see titles that made big pay-per-views. I like to see the title be defended. I get kind of mad.
Why not the titles? Why not put the titles on the line there? I mean, this is they.
You got people like the Usos. You got people like the Dudley Boys who've been.
But they're the only other two teams that are legitimately in contender, and they're going with each other. And there's no pay-per-view between now and WrestleMania, so they can have their own program on WrestleMania. And then that's a number one contenders match. While here you got these new guys coming in. People say you got to think of what AJ Styles did, right? AJ Styles, to my knowledge, I'm not the greatest guy. Remember, you guys can correct me here. I can't remember the last time someone has come in that did not go to NXT first or go somewhere else. Person came right through the door and went right in.
AJ Styles, and twofold, I think, and not to cut you off, twofold why AJ Styles went straight to the main roster. One, there's so many injuries in the WWE right now.
Okay.
They needed that spark. They needed that hit. They needed that shot in the arm. And why not AJ Styles? People been talking about him. He's that shot in the arm. The other reason AJ Styles didn't go to NXT right now, NXT's already they're heavy with Samoa Joe and all those other guys that's down there. So it was good for.
So what
AJ
makes this
Styles.
any difference? What makes it outside of Omega, which most fans may not know, the Young Bucks have been on the cusp of coming here for years now.
Because you want to humble the young bucks. So you put the young bucks in the end.
Enough said. They have the biggest hands in the world. You are absolutely right. If their first appearance is at WrestleMania, good Lord. It's a wrap.
You humble the young bucks and you start them in NXT. And I'm a young bucks fan. But as Vince McMahon, we've seen it with many people who have that ego. That he's gonna humble you.
Mm-hmm.
So why not the Young Bucks?
Exactly, man. Well, this is definitely we're gonna wrap this up early tonight. Because as you know, we're just a road to WrestleMania, so we gotta take our time with this one. We can't just go 600 miles an hour and then WrestleMania get here, we'd be burnt out. So, Glenn, final thoughts?
Your final thoughts is this: next 5 weeks are gonna be fun. Shout out to the Godfather for getting into the Hall of Fame. Pimping holes nationwide. You know what I'm saying? All right. Papa Shung. It's amazing. He doesn't go in as Kama. He doesn't go in as Papa Shango. He doesn't go in as what was his name in the nation? I think it was still Kama in the nation. But he goes in as the Godfather, the whole train, for the multi-color fan and everything else. I'm just saying. So shout out to him going into the Hall of Fame. Big time for wrestling fans. Shane McMahon being back, whether it's just for WrestleMania or for a long-term deal, is best for business. Fans wanted to see it. It should be done. I just hope we don't get a Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon match down the road. Don't need to see that again. I think. And then the final thoughts on this. I enjoy this part of the year because I can be a wrestling fan. I don't believe in Santa Claus, but I do believe in wrestling.
Mike, final thoughts?
Again, just to be really shorter than I normally am. Don't let wrestling fans out there, whether you're a wrestling fans like myself who just want to enjoy the product and tired of people complaining online, or you're the guy that's even complaining online who says to me, whatever, I can say what I want to say. You know what? You absolutely can. But you know what? I wish not to see it. You know, it's WrestleMania season. Enjoy wrestling. This is what we all watch it for, is to enjoy it. We will rip it after it's done. But until it happens, we reserve the right to hope that it's going to be better. Make sure you check me out tomorrow, Monday, 5 o'clock, 5 to 7, Fox Sports Radio 1340, Soul and Sports. We have more wrestling talk then, also wrestling fans. And Tuesday coming up, we got a UFC young up-and-comer, Mr. Tuck Gordon, going to be on the programs. Make sure you guys check that out.
All right, well, my final thoughts is this. Shout out to everybody who checked out. If you haven't, make sure you check out my top 15 divas from the past who would have been on this program they call Total Divas if there was a show during their era. So make sure you check that out. Also, can't wait for Raw tomorrow night. I'm still pushing to see Naomi in a huge light. Look at the social media numbers, search Nail Mob, and you'll see that she has a following. So now we just need her following to get to the shows and not stay and get off their computers. So until then, until next week, I'm Brian H. Waters. He's Mike Knox. He's Glenn, and we're out, ladies and gentlemen.